I'm Ted Keys in Pasadena, California. Welcome to my Tuesday conference call, a free high-powered meeting I hold live every Tuesday for top producing freight agents. Go to tedkeysonline.com for complete call information. Then join us weekly to see new, serious, struggling, and experienced sales professionals move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. So watch my recorded call topic highlighted there on your screen right now. When you're finished, go to tedkeysonline.com and hear more podcasts. Read more blog posts, watch more videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. Enjoy watching and applying my Tuesday conference call.
Hello and welcome everybody again to my Tuesday conference call. Ted Keys, your host here. I'm calling you from sunny Pasadena, California. Today I got a great topic. The name of my topic today for my conference call is, three types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. I'll say that again, three types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. Now, there's a number of questions that you can ask your prospects and customers, but these are three different types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. Before I get into this, as I usually say, that first attachment that I send out everybody on my emails, and as you know, if you're on this conference call, it's because you received an email with a number of attachments on it. Just scroll down to that first attachment, and then we'll get going into the call here. But that first attachment is our Green Meadows Productions leaderboard. For those of you that are just starting out with us, your goal is to get your name on that leaderboard. Just getting at the bottom of the revenue one, position 10, that is a start. Your goal is to work your way up that leaderboard. Why do you do that? Because it shows that you are making progress as a successful freight sales agent. Go ahead and X out of that first attachment and open up your second attachment, folks. You'll see on top, the title is called, as I said earlier, Three Types of Questions to Ask Your Prospects and Customers. Now, what are these three types? Well, let me go ahead and explain a little bit first. A strategic business partner requires the understanding of the challenges of your prospects and your customers. Now, you don't know everything there is to know about them, regardless of the research you've done before your sales call. However, discovering their pain points allows you to better plan your solution, because you know, if you've been in this a while, they will have solutions for you to solve, especially when you get into them or when you move that first load of them. And letting them do most of the talking as you're communicating with them gives your meeting with them a more consultative feel. Now, get the answers you require so you can offer those best solutions by asking these three types of open-ended sales questions. What are these three types? Well, the first type of question that you're going to ask, not that maybe you'll ask, possibly you're going to ask, it's called a needs-based question. That's your first type of question that you're going to ask. It's called a needs-based question. Now, what is this? Well, you must first be well-educated on your freight prospects before your initial sales call, but you still have a lot more to learn about them. What do? Focus on asking questions that pinpoint their dominant freight buying motivations. What is it that motivates them, or what's going to motivate them to use you or anybody else? Which includes, by the way, but also have to do with their desires, feelings, their tastes, and all that other stuff. That's based on their motivations, and that is their desires, their feelings, their taste, or anything else of the like. Now, determine what requirements your freight service fills for your prospects in order to create a list of needs-based questions before your sales calls. Let me give you an example. If you're calling a steel company, well, if you know anything about steel, steel is predominantly moved on a flatbed trailer. If you go in there talking about dry vans, there's a high probability that your shipping decision maker there is going to blow you off or hang up on you. Now, once you've listed these requirements that they have, work backwards and figure out what to ask your prospects to find out if your particular freight service matters to them, i.e., if they're hauling steel, start with flatbed and move back. At least when you go into the call, you can mention something like, do you typically move your steel on 48-foot flatbeds or 53-footers? I mean, just an example. As you ask each question, let them do the talking, very, very important, and really listen to their replies rather than thinking about what you're going to ask next. Let me get a little bit more into that. When you ask them questions, really focus on what they're saying to you, not on what you're going to ask them next because you're so nervous. A great freight sales agent will ask a question and they'll actually stop and listen to the answer. So by listening, you can formulate your next question, not expect to ask what you think you should ask them. So that is an example of a needs-based question. Now, number two, let's talk about number two and the type of questions you should ask. Number two is called the benefit-driven question. It's called the benefit-driven question. Before you start rattling off all the features that your freight service solution offers, be sure that your prospect's unique situation calls for your features that drive the benefits. Let me go back again. Your freight prospect, okay? Well, if you know anything about freight, if you know anything about your steel prospect, let me rephrase that, your steel prospect. If you have a steel prospect, well, one of your features is to provide flatbeds, not dry vans. So there's an idea of a feature, but you have to make sure, as I said earlier, be sure that your prospect's situation calls for the features that drive their benefits, i.e. flatbed trailers. When you're able to focus on selling benefits rather than features, you spotlight your prospect and their unique needs. Here's what you do. Pose your questions around the challenges that your prospect is facing and which benefits would effectively provide their freight solution. 1 second. You can develop a good set of benefit-driven questions before the call by listing every feature of your freight service and then noting the corresponding benefit next to it. To determine their benefits, just ask yourself, what does freight feature X do for my prospect? What will a dry van do for my prospect? Well, obviously it'll move their steel loads. That is the number two type of question. The third type of question to ask is an objection-based question. No sales call will feel consultative if you respond to their objections with a rehearsed set of responses. Let me say that again, very important. No sales call will feel consultative on your end if you respond to their objections with a rehearsed set of questions. And remember, this is what I always say, especially when I'm training you that first time. You will receive objections, especially on that first call. Your goal is not to outmaneuver your prospect, but to learn how to ask questions that relate to the most common objections you'll get. So, across every industry, there's a few common objections that salespeople typically hear. Let me give you a few examples. I want to think about it. Your price is too high. I need to talk to my boss. All of you folks that are listening to me, how many of you have heard these objections? I want to think about it. Your price is too high. I need to talk to my boss. So to counter these hesitations, again, ask questions that relate to these objections. That's how you'll get around it. Again, you're not going to do it forcefully, but here's what you shall ask. What type of process do you use to move your freight? What type of budget do you have to move your freight? What type of system do you have in place to move your freight? Again, these are just responses to some of the objections that you hear. If you hear, I want to think about it, well, then you're not going to ask them, what type of system do you have in place to move their freight? What you respond with has to do with the objection that they told you. And here's the thing to think about. The more you hear objections, the more responses, the more correct responses you're going to come up with. So getting to the root of these common objections off the bat will assist you to better execute your sales strategy and avoid the more important roadblocks farther down your freight sales path with your prospects. Here's a little conclusion. Asking the right questions is a must in order to provide your prospects with the solutions they truly require, but it's not just the questions that you ask that are important. The various methods that you listen and respond to your prospects' answers will determine whether they view you as a valuable business partner and potential freight sales agent, or just another salesperson attempting to hit their quota. So let me repeat again the three types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. The first one is a needs-based question. The second is called a benefit-driven question. The third is called an objection-based question. Three types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. Let's go ahead and X out of there. Go ahead back to your email. Open up that third attachment. So we talked about the three types of questions to ask. Here are 15 more direct questions to ask when you've actually made contact with your shipping decision maker. Some fall into each category that we just talked about. But these are 15 must-ask questions that will move more freight for you. You're going to ask these questions to your shipping decision maker for the main purpose of building and starting to build your relationship with them. Here are 15 of the most common must-ask questions that you must ask, should ask, at least get in some of these. Now, you're not going to ask all 15 on your first call, but boy, based on the conversation that you're having with your prospect, here are some examples of what you can ask. First one, tell me about your business. Somebody's feeling friendly, fire away, tell me about your business. Now, I'll say this, you better know about their business before you call, but boy, if you have the opening there, go ahead and ask it, tell me about your business. Next one, what are your main responsibilities? You want to make sure that they are the shipping decision maker or the shipping manager. So what are your main responsibilities? Next one, who else besides you makes your shipping decisions? Number 4, what's your biggest challenge shipping your blank? Number 5, what happens when blank happens? Again, that can apply to so many different things. Next one, what are your main priorities while moving your freight? Their main priority is, hey, your truck has to be here at a certain time. My pallets are going to be out on the dock. They've got to move within an hour. That's just filling you in on some main priorities of moving their freight. Here's another one. What qualities do you look for in a great freight sales agent? Not just in a freight agent, but in a great freight sales agent, because that's what you're representing. You're representing yourself as a great freight sales agent. Next one, what do you like most about your current freight agent? You know they're going to have one, or freight agents, hey, take an interest. Go ahead and ask them. Next one, What would you change about your current freight agent? Boy, if they answer that question, you better start taking notes so you can fill the voids that your shipping decision maker is talking about. Next one, this is a great one. Do you keep your options open for a new freight sales agent? Really stressing, do you keep your options open for a new freight sales agent? Another one, what's your criteria for bringing in a new freight agent? Another one, how do you measure success with your current freight agents? Again, you're not going to get all 15 in, but if you can get a bunch of these in, that will build and start to build your relationship. Let's keep going on here. How would I win your Freight Agent of the Year award? A little kooky there, but why not ask? If they answer, you better be writing down answers so you can fill, again, the voids that they're telling you about. Another one, what freight loads or lanes are you shipping right now? Boy, zing. What are you shipping right now? Last one, what's your email address so I can send you my rate? As you may or may not notice, that is the most important question to ask. What's your email address so I can send you my rates? 15 must-ask questions. Again, get some of these in on your first call. Some of these appear also on your sales call information sheet that I've gone over with all current agents as well. Let's move on. Just a little tidbit or a little side note on these 15 must-ask questions that will move more freight. Remember these points while you're asking them. Remember these points while you're asking these questions. These points are, first one, nothing in life is perfect. Press as much as you possibly can. Nothing in life is perfect. Press as much as you possibly can. Another point, do a Google search on the company before you call it. Make sure you know exactly what it is that they ship. Next one, confirm you're speaking with the shipping decision maker. Confirm you're speaking with the shipping decision maker. Listening while searching for clues is your main priority while you're talking to these folks. Another point, people love to talk about themselves once they're comfortable. People love to talk about themselves once they're comfortable with you. Next point, have an idea of questions you're going to ask in advance. Again, you can have an idea. It's not going to, you're not necessarily going to ask those questions, but have an idea. And really all you have to do is go to the first page that I went over as far as the questions that you're going to ask. Next point, what questions work the best? The answer is open-ended questions. Questions that require a response from who you're talking to. Next point is don't prejudge. When you prejudge, you misjudge. Just go into it seeking information, getting their email contact. Another point, take good notes on your sales call information sheet. Take good notes on your sales call information sheet. If you're wondering what is a sales call information sheet, this appears in the Freight Sales Success Guide. I go over this when I initially train you when you become a new freight agent for our office. Never badmouth or be negative about your competition. Very important point. Next point, showing interest in the competition shows that you have class. Showing interest in the competition shows that you have class. Next point, repeat back to your prospects what you heard them say. Very important, just so the two of you are on the same wavelength. Next point, in sales, your attitude is everything about everything. If you go into a call with a sour attitude, believe me, they are going to notice. Last one, in sales, don't be boring like the next guy. Be different. If you go into the call sounding, using the same words that every other freight sales agent uses, you will not stand out. You'll sound just like the next guy. There will be no reason for the shipping decision maker to continue having a conversation with you. Hold on a second, folks. Okay, so remember these points while you're asking in reference to these 15 must-ask questions when you're starting to build your relationship with your prospect. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and X out of there and move into that fourth attachment. A lot of these are going to be a repeat of what I just said, but they just happen to fall on these next documents that I have for you. Go ahead and open up that fourth document. Fourth document reads, remember, when you're calling your prospects and customers, to be real. Not only be real, but be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Okay, be real. It's easy to spot an insincere sales agent. Like a skunk in your family room, they both smell terrible. Be real, be yourself. Don't be somebody that you're not. We all like it when people are real with us. It's no different when you're being real with your shipping decision maker that you're just starting to build a relationship with. Let's go ahead and X out of there and open up that fifth attachment. Our fifth attachment reads, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, again, I just said this earlier, don't be boring like the next guy. Don't be boring like the next freight sales agent that just called your prospect. Be different. How do you be different? You be different by being prepared, by knowing who they are, what they ship, and by having a list of questions to ask when they give the opportunity, and not talking about yourself. Not talking about yourself. That's how you are different. Let's go ahead and X out of there and open up that next attachment. I know I'm moving along here quite quickly, but anyway, that next attachment on the second row, first one, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, folks, is don't prejudge. When you prejudge, you misjudge. Don't go into your call with any misconceptions thinking this guy is going to act like the last guy that I just called. You have no idea. Basically, they're going to react to you. When you act accordingly, when you're real, when you're not boring, folks will listen to you. But if you think that they're going to be somebody else, or they're going to act just like the last guy that you just spoke to, you're prejudging. And when you prejudge, you misjudge. When you misjudge, you're going to misfire. You're not going to get very long on the conversation with your next shipping decision maker. So don't prejudge. Just go into it thinking, hey, what problem, what issue, what challenge can I solve for this individual today? That's the best thing that you can have in your mind going into a call. What challenge or problem can I solve for this individual today? Let's go ahead and open up that last, or the next attachment anyway, last one in this category here. Remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, as I said earlier, that your attitude is everything about everything. Your attitude is everything about everything. If you go into a call with a sour attitude, believe me, you're going to get a sour response. If you go into a call prepared, acting professional, asking questions with the right attitude, you're going to get that back to you. You're going to get somebody that's going to be responsive to your questions. So, great topic for today. 3 types of questions to ask your prospects and customers. What our profession and our success in it boils down to this. If you go into a call knowing that you're going to ask questions and figure out who these folks are, again, not who they are, but what their challenges are, because, as I said earlier, that's how you're going to get into a customer. You're going to get in by solving their challenge, solving their problems. That's how we typically get into a customer, by solving our prospect's challenge. If you go in there with the right attitude, you will receive the correct response. When will it happen? May happen that day, may happen tomorrow, this week, next month, next year, I don't know. But the more you connect and relate, you will earn their business. Okay, Let's go ahead and open up that last attachment. Excuse me, folks. As you may or may not know, I am a firm believer in what the Bible says, what the Bible offers, and this is my Bible insight for today. My Bible insight for today is this: godly freight agents know that cooperation pays. Let me say that again. Godly freight agents know that cooperation pays. Now, here's just an example of how I get us all to cooperate. I start this call. How do I get us to cooperate? I get us to cooperate by having you explain your successes, your challenge with the rest of the listening audience. The more the listening audience hears that it's not just you having success or it's not just you having challenges, they can relate, and once we hear your success or your failure, your challenges, it's going to make us go forward. That is how I get us all to cooperate. So godly freight agents know that cooperation pays. Now, what does this? But what does this basically mean in general? Well, have you and your associates, your fellow freight agents, learned the subtle art of cooperation? Well, if so, you have learned the wisdom of give and take, not the foolishness of me first. Cooperation is the art of compromising on many little things while keeping your eye on one big thing, and that is your collective goals. Now, here's a word of warning. If you're like most folks in positions of leadership or even following, you're probably a little bit headstrong. Like me, you probably want more things done in a fashion resembling the popular song that came out, I believe it was the 60s or the 70s, My Way. But if you're observant, you'll notice that those people who always insist upon my way or the highway usually end up with the highway. That's typically what you end up with when you go into a situation of, hey, I'm going to do this my way. Now, a better strategy for all concerned, including you, is to abandon the search for my way and search instead for our way. That's another main reason why I have this conference call, is so we can all get together and connect and collaborate. The happiest and most productive freight sales agents are those in which everybody learns how to give and take, and remember the emphasis is on give. What is this based off of? I base this off of Mark 3, verse 24 and 25. If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand, even if the kingdom is as small as our kingdom. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. How do we apply this? Well, when you and your associates work as a team, you accomplish more. When you don't work as a team, you accomplish less. Here's the big light bulb. It pays to cooperate. It pays to get engaged when I have these conference calls. Share your strengths, share your joys, share your successes, share your challenges with us. Most of all, share your wins. Here's a quote by John Maxwell, a well-known author in this field. One person working together doesn't accomplish much. Success is the result of people pulling together to meet common goals. Okay, that is my Bible insight for today. A few quick announcements here. If your desire is to become a top-notch freight sales agent and you don't know where to turn, then give me a call. Here, my name's Ted Keys. My contact number is 626-309-9141. If you have any questions about the topics that I went over today on listening, call that same number, my same number, 626-309-9141. If you want to hear the recording or the podcast on this call today, then go to tedkeysonline.com and click on the podcast link on the top of my homepage. If you have any questions on our LDI freight system, then the number to call is the same, 626-309-9141. You will call and ask for my lovely wife, Maria, on our LDI freight system. Been a great time talking to you today on a most important topic of asking the right questions. Take care. God bless you all. I will speak to you all very, very soon. Take care.
You've just taken a tremendous step forward by watching and applying my Tuesday conference call highlight. Do you desire to earn and learn with our top freight team and Christian-based office? Yes? We're searching for a self-starter who's serious, motivated, and ready to take action right now. Is that you? Go to tedkeysonline.com/contacts and enter your contact details. We provide top-notch freight agent sales training to you. Then you deliver those same skills with confidence to the freight industry marketplace. I'll talk to you soon.